She was just an ordinary black girl, but she found herself relentlessly pursued by a wealthy white boy from town. Other white girls tried to stop him, yet he remained deeply devoted to Nina. Faced with jealous, disdainful stares around her, Nina kept silent. Though the boy's affection was genuine and persistent, she never gave him an answer, because she knew her dark skin was not welcomed in a country ruled by white society. Wherever she went, she faced eyes filled with prejudice. On top of that, her family was poor. Outside of school, she had to juggle part-time jobs just to help support her household. She told herself there was no way a love between them could ever last. The divide of race was too stark, too unforgiving. Their relationship seemed doomed from the start. One evening, while working at a banquet, Nina suddenly saw him again. Panicked, she shook her head, signaling for him to pretend they didn't know each other. She was terrified that her identity as a black girl would tarnish his reputation. But instead, the boy boldly pulled her away from the banquet. He told her he had enlisted in the army and would soon leave their town for the front lines. At that moment, the smile on Nina's face disappeared. In truth, she had long since fallen in love with him. It was only the harshness of the world that forced her to hide her feelings. But now, with him about to walk out of her life, she could no longer restrain her heart. She kissed him first. For the first time, their love was openly real. Yet their time together was heartbreakingly short. 2 days later, he left home to fight on the battlefield. From then on, Nina lived a life of restless waiting, her eyes always on the postman. It became the most important part of her day. But weeks turned into months, and still no letters came from him. Even so, Nina never stopped writing. One letter every week. Most of her letters just piled up beside her bed. She would stand outside her home, watching, longing for his familiar figure, but he never appeared again. Sometimes she lifted her eyes to the sky, praying that the wind would carry her love to him. Until one fateful day, his father arrived with a letter. Nina slowly opened the envelope, only to find a casualty notification from the army. She couldn't believe it. After months of waiting, what she received was not his words, but the news of his death. She sat on her bed clutching the paper, crying through the entire night. For a full week, she could hardly move. At last, she made her decision. She would abandon her studies and enlist in the army herself. She wanted to go to the front lines, to see where he had fought, to feel the traces of his presence on the battlefield. Her mother was heartbroken, unable to bear the thought of her only daughter risking her life. But Nina's mind was set. Despite her mother's pleas, she signed her name and joined the army. With no choice left, her mother tearfully escorted her onto the train that would take her away from home. Soon, Nina arrived at the new recruit training camp, and the moment she stepped down, she met Ross, a young black soldier who had already been training there for over a year. At first sight, Ross was captivated by her. Without hesitation, he reached out his hand to help Nina off the train.